Hello, hello. Good morning. Let me know when you're here. Make sure to say hello. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today is Saturday, March 15th. Let me know when you come on. Hello, Sue. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Having a good weekend so far. We'll give it a couple minutes for some more friends to come on. We're going to be doing reverse decoupage today. Hello, hello. We're going to be using some new Decoupage Queen Easter papers. Got a few. I'm going to start a few projects today. I'm going to probably finish one and then start a couple more, just because the one that I have lined up for you is going to be pretty short. So make sure to say hello. Come on in. We are streaming in a few different places. We're on the Royal Court Arts Facebook page. We're on my Facebook page. We're on Royal Court Art YouTube page, and we're also on my YouTube page. Hello, Denise. Hi, Cindy. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you have some fun plans this weekend. It's supposed to be a little nasty and rainy. It's actually supposed to, we're supposed to get some tornadoes tonight in our area. So we'll see. It's actually supposed to happen like overnight tonight. So we're in for a rainy, nasty evening tonight. It's supposed to be a little rainy today. Hey, Dana. Good morning. Come on in, guys. Make yourselves at home for the next hour. It's probably going to try to keep it a little short today. But of course, I say that every Saturday, don't I? So we'll see how we're doing. All right, y'all, let me turn my camera down. Let me know, do you guys have any plans this weekend? Anybody doing anything fun and exciting? I did a little bit of prep work, and I'll show you what I did in a moment. I've got this little glass dish. I actually bought it on eBay. It's just this little, okay, so I don't know if you can see, kind of get the idea of what it looked like, but it was just this little oval clear dish. And can you see the handles of that? So this is upside down view. Hi, Lisa. And what I did is I put a little bit of primer paste on it. And then I put a few molds. So the molds I used for the handles, I used this flower from the fairy mold on both sides here. And then I used our beads along the edges here. Okay, so I did that last night so that our clay would have some time to dry and be ready to go this morning. Hopefully my angle's okay. So here's my glass. I'm going to clean it just a little bit. And we're going to do some reverse decoupage on here using our Blessed Angels 4-pack paper. Okay. So I'm going to just clean this with some glass cleaner and make sure that I have a good surface to decoupage onto before I get started. Okay, so I'm going to use the Blessed Angels 4-pack paper, and we are going to do reverse decoupage. So what that means is I'm going to be decoupaging the image on the underside of this glass so that this glass remains intact and you can see the image from the underside. Okay, so that's what reverse decoupage. And I chose this one because she fits really, really nicely into this little oval. And it's the colors are obviously very green and springtime. So that's what we're going to do. Good morning. Okay, let me get some water here. So without further ado, let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get my pencil so I can trace the outline here. Yeah, it fits so well. So I'll show you the other ones, you know, like this one would work well too. And you guys, I mean, let me know if you want to do a different one, we can do that. But this one works pretty well. Her is getting cut off a little bit. This one I feel is a little too tall, like unless I centered her like that, but then I'd have more work to do at the top. So I really love this image, but it doesn't work well for this particular piece. And then this one would be okay too, but I'm cutting, I either got to sacrifice her wing or I got to sacrifice her hand. So I'm thinking it's got to be one of these two up here. So either the little green one, and I'll let y'all vote. We'll let you vote. So either the little green one, or if you like the pink one, we could do that one. It's up to y'all. Let me know, because we could actually fit the words "A Happy Easter" in here if we did the pink one. So I would be satisfied with either the pink one or the green. You think the other one is too pink? Okay. All right. I agree. I think let's go with the green one. We're cutting off some of our words, but that's not a huge deal. It's no big deal. So let me just trace around so I know where to cut. Okay. Get my little scissors out and we can begin. Yeah, and I think the green is just, it's really kind of just soft and muted, a nice color for us. So I'm happy with that. The little vintage Eastertide girls would be cute in here too, but I really wanted to use this angel paper today. All right, so let's get our oval shape cut. We can make some adjustments to this as we go. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay. So before I begin decoupaging, what I need to do is I have some, so I did put some primer paste along the top and then I waited for it to dry, but I still need to do that along the sides and on the bottom here. So before I begin decoupaging, I'm going to take some primer paste and work on that. So let me move this off to the side. And I'm going to get, you could also use bonding primer, but I didn't have time to wait, you know, for both sides to dry. So I'm just using primer paste here. It's going to be a little bit thicker, but it'll still adhere to glass. So I'm using, it's going to be a little bit thicker and some of that texture is going to show a little bit when we paint it, but that's okay. Whereas if I use bonding primer, the bonding primer would be a little bit thinner in texture. And so it would be, when you paint over it, it's going to be a little bit more smooth and seamless, whereas this paste is going to have a little bit of texture. All right, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. And then I'm painting this glass on the sides too. so that when I decoupage, you're only going to be able to see that image within this oval. And I actually might need 2 coats of this. So I got this little trinket dish on eBay because I just wanted something small. I really wanted to do a reverse decoupage piece. Just a little glass tray. And I'm not going crazy with the embellishments. I did a little bit of clay work on it, but I didn't go too crazy on it. So I did that last night, and my clay is dry this morning. Okay. All right, I'm going to dry this, and then I'm going to do one more coat. And then I'll probably flip it over and do another layer of primer on the top as well. Good morning, Dana. Welcome in. All right, let me do one more coat of primer paste on here, you guys. Let's do it. I also have this egg started. We've done these before, this egg on a pedestal. I had originally intended this, I actually started this as a class with Avetta, but I didn't finish the class. And so I have this egg that's already glued to a base here that we could take in a different direction if we wanted to. So maybe we could use, I was looking at this, maybe we could use this smaller angel on the egg, although she's a little bit too tall for that egg, but maybe we'll do something with that, like one of the little round papers with the little bunnies. We'll see. Or maybe we could do that next week so I can think about it some more. My husband and I went out for dinner last night. We went out to our favorite steak restaurant. So we had ourselves a little date night. So my kids are at grandma's today, which is always nice to have a little bit of quiet time. All right. Okay. All right. All right. That looks pretty good. All right, and let me just clean up around here a little bit. All right, now I'm going to dry again. I had a filet. I had an 8-ounce filet and some mashed potatoes, and we had a crab cake for an appetizer. It was amazing. All right, this stuff dries pretty fast, so we're in good shape here. All right, let's flip it back over. Let's see what we got. That still looks pretty good. So we have this rim. We have this outer rim here that I'm actually thinking maybe this needs to be painted. Let me look at it. Okay, yeah, so I think we need to paint this little outer rim as well carefully. It's hard because you don't know like what it's gonna look like. But let's just do that. Let me put my glasses on. We're gonna paint this little outer rim carefully. Because this is magnifying like the clear space underneath. And I don't want that. So here's a little rim And I'm just going to cover that up to give it a little bit of a white border. So I want my paper to look like a perfect oval under there. So I'm just kind of blocking off space here. So I thought that clear stuff was kind of more along the sides, but this outer rim is a part of that too. So we'll just sort of block that off as well. And we'll do a couple coats of this as well. And I'm just kind of using my finger as a guide, my thumb as a guide, so I don't go past. We went to the movies last night too. We went and saw that that new movie with Kate Blanchett and Pierce Brosnan, the Black Bag movie. That movie was very interesting. It got a 97% on the tomato meter. It was a little bit slow, and it was definitely more thinking that late at night than I wanted to do. It was pretty good, but it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. Because you guys know I love like spy thrillers, but I like them to be a little bit more action packed, and it wasn't as violent. It wasn't as violent as I was hoping for a spy movie, but it was more of a mind games type of movie. Like I said, I wasn't quite in that frame of mind, so I got lost in a couple spots, but that's okay. I normally do my homework ahead of time, so I know what I'm getting into, and I didn't. All right, let me dry this, and then I'll hit that one more time. Let's hit this one more time. Okay. All right. Good morning, Cindy. How are you? All right, so we had our decoupage queen release on Monday. You guys are retailers. Have that all in stock. So retailers, if you want to share your links, feel free so people know where to find our decoupage queen papers. They are not on the decoupage queen website yet. We give our retailers the first week. So we've got 3 new molds, 50, I think it's 59 or 58 new papers. We have 3 new stencils. Thank you, Betty. Good morning. So feel free to let us know in the comments, retailers, if you've got those available, including the one we're working with today. We're working with the Chic Borders mold, the Fairy, Garden Fairy mold, and the Blessed Angels 4-pack. I've got Penelope out too, and my Black and Ivory Harlequin I was thinking I might do something with, or maybe we'll plan something for next week. This may, I always think my projects aren't going to take very long, but painting all this trim, we may end up at an hour here. By the time you get started on it, you think, oh, I got to do that. And then, oh, I got to do that. Even if you do a lot of prep work, still ends up taking longer than you think. Okay. And of course, I enjoy some nice, unhurried crafting time with you guys. I always look forward to my Saturdays with y'all. Oh yeah, Lisa, Canada, right? You'll have to let me know. I don't think that tariffs are impacting. Actually, no, it's the other way around. So if you guys send things here, I don't think Canada has imposed the tariffs on our products. So I think we're in good shape trading wise. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. We'll keep it going one way or another. We love our partners in Canada. All right, so I'm gonna just clean a little bit my fingerprints here before I flip that over. Make sure I have a nice clean surface to work with. And then we'll flip that over and look at it one more time. Okay. There we go. Okay, there we go. That looks better. So now we've got more of a border there. I'm gonna do a little bit of touch up on the paper itself, just very softly up here at the top. I'm gonna take a little bit of this country blue, and I'm just gonna kind of dab it very softly and carefully, like a dry brush, kind of up here at the top. I want to kind of, I'm using the country blue. I want to just sort of mask this edge here. It's a little risky because this is so delicate, you guys. But I need to blend in. I need to blend that in a little bit better. So let's take our white. So it's just a soft pounce directly onto the paper before I decoupage it. Because if I try to paint it on the glass, it's not going to stick very well. So you don't want your paint to be super wet. So you want to blot it off when you're doing this. So I'm getting rid of the words as well because I can't get them all in. So I'm just kind of extending this cloud effect. Okay. So right onto the paper, you guys. And then I'm going to get rid of these words down here too. Very carefully and delicately, right? It's a little cloudy. I could use a little bit more white in there. More. to come in a little bit more white around the edges because my edges are going to be white. Okay. So a little blending before the decoupage, you guys. And I used a little bit of a dry brush technique. And I didn't like the stray letters on there. So I wanted to get rid of them before I apply the decoupage. So you can paint on your rice paper before you even decoupage it. The trick is to use a dry brush technique and not like a super saturated wet brush. All right, now let's look at this. There we go. Look how perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our decoupage on. We're just going to use regular decoupage glue. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and cover the back side of this. And then let's stick our image on and see what we have. So, let's see how we're lining up there. I need a little bit more. Oh, I think that looks pretty good. Ideally, I'd shift her over a little bit, but it's pretty stuck on there. I'm not going to be able to lift it without tearing the paper, so I am going to have to go with it at this point. I think I made it a little too clean, so it, like, as soon as I put that paper down, it just, boom, it's stuck. Normally you can lift it up, probably also because I have the paint on there too. All right. All right. Let's see how that looks. That looks pretty darn good. I really do love that. So let's dry, and then we're going to pounce this with white paint. how we look there. It's going to take a little bit of time for it to dry, on this side of, where it's adhered to the glass. It might take a little bit of time for it to dry there. I feel pretty dry, but I'm going to hit it a little bit more. All right, I have a spot here that did not get all the way glued. Lifting up a little bit. So let me, you know what? I just used primer paste on there. I did not use glue, I used primer paste. Bad. Let's stick that glue on there. Let's stick that down. Make sure that's actually, and you know what, while I'm at it, why don't I do one more layer of glue as a buffer on here? And then I can dry that again. Because I don't want that white paint to bleed through. So this sort of will also act as a barrier so that my white paint doesn't seep through to the other side of my image. When I blot it. Yeah, it's going to take a little while to dry on the other side, but it will eventually. Okay, now I'm ready to pounce a little bit of white paste on here. I'm going to use a stencil brush. Could also use a little sponge. And we're just pouncing along this backside. To cover that and give it, just like when you decoupage on a white background or a white surface so that the image will pop. Right now we don't have that. So what this is in effect, what we're doing is creating that white surface, but we're doing it in reverse. So we're giving it a white surface behind it so that the image will pop more. So you can do a couple of coats of this if needed. How many of you guys have done reverse decoupage? I'm pretty sure most of you have. I think I've got, oh, my finger is sticking here. Put that up carefully. I don't want to pull my primer up. It's always better to let this stuff air dry versus forcing it. Stick it on, wait, do another coat, wait. But, we don't have that kind of time on a line. That picture frame was so pretty, you guys. Sue, from that class. I have kind of decided right now, like the only classes I can take are my oil painting. Because every time I sign up for a different type, I never seem to find the time to do the project that's being shown. And then I get jealous when I see everybody else's beautiful things completed. Yeah, it was. You used the hot air balloon, right? That turned out really pretty. Okay. So I'm going to cover that up. Let me dry this. Okay, so there we go. My goal, I've got more work to do on the backside, you guys, but my goal was to get it to a point where I felt like I could move on to painting the top. So that's what we're going to do now. Let me make sure I'm dry enough to flip this over. I'm going to let it set for just a minute longer. And then we're going to move on to painting and finishing the top, and then I'll finish the back side the same way off camera. We are going to use the Country Blue acrylic paint. And then we're going to distress it back with a little bit of white. Maybe we'll use the white pearl. Again, So what I would do to finish off the back is I'll do another coat of the Pounce primer paste to make it nice and even. And then I'll cover the whole thing with this blue acrylic paint to give it a seamless look. But we're going to flip it over and we're going to get started. We're going to go ahead and paint this side with this same country blue, which will tie in kind of the background of our angel. So let's get started on that. I did put a little bit of priming paste around the sides of this as well. Ideally, I'd have one more coat on it, but I don't. It's going to have to be fine. This clay, I put it on last night and it's dry this morning. I used heavy body gel to glue it on. I was trying to create, what's the look? It's some sort of fine china that has this blue color and like white on it. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm trying to go for that look. Anybody know what that's called? I can see it in my head. Wedgwood, yeah, that's it. I'm trying to create a Wedgwood sort of look, very classic style. So I'm glad we chose this image because the pink one would not have worked very well for that. You know, it's possible over time if this thing gets handled a lot, because the clay is sort of sticking over the edges. And I did try to kind of mold it and wrap it around a little bit. It's possible that these leaves may break over time. So, but I did reinforce it with a little bit of heavy body gel. I kind of like painted a couple layers of heavy body gel over the tops of these just to give it a little bit more strength. I don't know if it will hold long term or not, you know, but so this is a piece that I'll have to treat somewhat delicately because of these edges here. You know, I probably could have cut it up to manipulate it to fit better, but I really like the way it looked being the full flower on there. All right. Let me dry, and then I'll get a smaller brush to hit the insides. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you can add stuff to make them a little bit stronger. Of course, you could You could have also used resin here, like a resin casting instead of clay. All right, let's go in on the inside. I've got a smaller angle brush. And I do have a coat of the primer paste on the inner rim of this as well. So it does have something to stick to. Okay. So favorites from the Decoupage Queen release, you guys, let me know. What did you buy? What are your favorites? I'm working on fall right now. So what do you want to see more of? I would love to hear your feedback. I always solicit feedback. Doesn't always mean I'm going to do everything that's suggested, but it's nice to know kind of like, you know, you guys are my people. So it's nice to know what y'all are wanting out there and to hear it directly from you. All right, let's do one more coat here. Love the molds. Fall florals. Oh, like this pumpkin spice papers. I love those papers. I loved those. I would gladly do more fall florals. It's hard to think about fall without thinking about pumpkins, but I feel like we have done so many pumpkins, you guys. So just fair warning, you may not see a whole lot of pumpkins this time. Crows, scarecrows, and gourds, I like that. Like, okay, yeah, whites, grays, and greens. I was thinking about that, Catherine. I like that idea. Maybe not so much orange this time. Even neutral colored, like lighter kind of neutral tones are nice. Acorns. Oh, turkey. I'm pumpkined out, yeah. Sepia with cream, squirrels, yep. My squirrels and mice. Brown and gold. I like that. You guys are coming up with some great ideas. I'm gonna have to write these down. All right, let me do one more coat along the inside here as well. Okay. We will let that dry a little more. And then we will finish it off with a little bit of white glaze, and then we'll be done, you guys. So it did take an hour. I had other projects lined up because I'm like, this is only going to take 30 minutes. It's definitely the creative process. Okay, let's pull up some Wedgwood on the phone and see what it looks like and think through how we can take this to the finish line. Wedgwood. Of course, we'll always put our own spin on it. Okay, so I see, basically what I see with Wedgwood is that it's the solid color, but it's the images or the trim that's white. So in that case, like these would have been white. I don't want to do that, you guys. I think we're going to make this in our own style, kind of inspired by Wedgwood. I want to do just a white glaze over the whole thing. But if you wanted to do this in a more traditional Wedgwood style, that's what you would have done, is you would have painted the base blue and then painted these details white. So we're gonna veer off from that. We're gonna use this. This is the Wall Laser Antique in white, which is very similar. If you don't have this, that's totally fine. You can use the white antiquing gel. It's going to work pretty much exactly the same way. This is just the new version of that comes in the, it comes in the larger sizes, like the huge industrial sizes, if you wanted to do like a wall or something. Hi, Charlotte. How are you? I'm going to make sure this is nice and dry before I start that. Okay. All right. So ideally, I would let this sit overnight to fully dry and cure before I started messing with it. But let's go ahead. I'm going to spritz it with a little bit of water first. And we're going to do a little section at a time. Oops, wrong side. Let's start with our flour. We're going to put some of this antiquing product in there. And then we're going to wipe it back. Okay. And this is going to just sort of age it very softly and subtly with some white. You've got to do this carefully so you don't pull your paint off. That may still be a little bit wet. And of course, I'm going to do this same exact thing on the back side. to make it very cohesive. Yeah, we're going to get that bad weather too. Yep. Thank you, Charlotte. Yeah, we're waiting on it too. It's going to be a rough night, I think. This just makes it look a little bit more vintage. It is, yes. This is the flower on the edge is from the new fairy. I'll show you in just a minute. It's from the new garden fairy, and then the trim is from our new chic borders. And I just use clay. One last pass. Okay. All right, now I'm going to dry, and then I'm just going to do a little bit of dry brushing to hit some highlights. That's the antique white wall laser that I just used. You could also use the white antiquing gel. And I won't say one is better than the other. I think they're pretty much. I will say I think the antiquing gel might be a little bit thicker. All right, let's get our white paint out. Let's do just a little bit of dry brushing. We're not going to go crazy. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use the primer paste instead. My white's a little bit dry. I need a stiffer brush. Let's use this one. All right, so just going to take a little bit of white gesso and offload that off. And then we're going to do a little bit of dry brushing. We could actually do a little bit with some silver as well. Other thing we could do is come back in maybe with a slightly darker color and hit the edges of these things, or we could use a little bit of wax. Let me see what my wax options are, you guys. Maybe let's see, maybe a little bit of silver. I think a little bit of silver would be good. Where is my silver? I just had it recently. Oh, I put on my glasses. Here we go. This is the silver antique paste. Let's put a little bit of that on these edges. Before I do that, actually, I think I'm going to use this one. This is the graphite. Let's put a little bit of that on the edges first. And that's giving it a little bit of contrast. And then we'll do a little bit of silver over the top of that. Let's do a little bit of silver over the tops. Okay, I think that looks pretty good, you guys. Here's our pretty faux sort of Wedgwood, not really, trinket dish. And we're going to do the backside in this same white look. And then we will call this done, you guys. So thank you all so much for being here. Next week, let me show you what we're going to do next week. I think we're actually going to do, I've got this cookie tin. I think we're going to upcycle. I think we'll use Penelope on the top, and then maybe this around, maybe this one around the sides. So we're just going to upcycle this little cookie tin. I'll do a little bit of prep work ahead of time. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate y'all so much. And I will see you next time. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.